Let's get down to the business here. Let's have some fun. The 2 o'clock hour is now striking. Well, not us live here, but the 2 o'clock hour Major League Baseball, where we are going to handicap. It's hour number 2. It's Pro Baseball Today. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Tom Vecchio. We do this weekly powwow every Sunday, and we'll do it for the rest of the remaining Sundays here in the month of August. But let's get to Minnesota today. It's Detroit and it's Minnesota. Paddock's on the mound. It's not a great pitcher here. Adams is on the mound here, the right-handed pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. How long he's going to go, I don't know. How many runs he's going to give up, I don't know that either. 967, 968, but I do got a hint. 210 start today. This total, 8.5. Now we're seeing 9s across the board. It's a warm day in Minnesota, but not really the wind helping you out that much. It's blowing in from center field. But if anybody's ever seen the Minnesota Twins Stadium, it's real high up with bleachers, like basically all the way around, where you don't get that open center field that's going to have that open wind and jug. Huge, huge scoreboard out there. But this is a favorite here for Detroit that went up overnight, Tom, from a -25 to a -150 and plus at some outlets right now. I'm just looking at this game for me in Detroit and blind betting the Detroit Tigers at the plate today, because the one thing I do know, you're not getting a good starting pitcher. Like, remember we talked about, like, Urania was on the mound last week. It's like, I should just be able to hammer that guy. I don't know how he danced around raindrops through like 60 pitches in 2 innings and gave up like a single run or no runs at that point. I think they get bounced around today. I think we get runs, because why? Paddock's not even a good pitcher, Tom. How did we not get 9 runs today?
We really should. The one thing I want to note is I also saw Travis Adams listed as the starter, but now both FanDuel and DraftKings have Thomas Hatch listed as the starter.
Yeah.
So it's whether it's Adams or Hatch. For Hatch, he's only has 9.2 innings pitched this year between two teams. Last year wasn't even in the majors. He was pitching in Japan.
Bullpen game.
2 years ago in 2023, he had a 4.47 xFIP. When it comes to Travis Adams, this year he's been with the Twins the entire time. 5.13 xFIP. He comes in with a 19.6% strikeout rate and 2.05 home runs per 9. Obviously, Paddock was traded from the Twins to the Tigers earlier this year, and Paddock is also not a good pitcher. His ERA at 4.7, 4.52 xFIP for him. Strikeout rate at 17.4%. When we're looking at the lineups, even though the wind is blowing in, I think we can make a case for at least the power hitters on both sides. If you give me, well, maybe not Glaber for the power, but Glaber, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, plus a Larnach, Buxton, Clemens combo, I think we're working with some gas there.
No, we're definitely working with some gas. Like, even like say, oh no, Hatch is going to be in. It's like when you find out, like, well, I'm expecting a really bad pitcher, and Nathan Eovaldi shows up as the star. Like, oh man, come on now. Like, we had this game boxed out. But you take a look at like Travis Adams or whoever comes in. Like, Adams is bad. So let me slow it down. So let's go see what Hatch is. They almost look identical to Adams' numbers. Like he's 43 batters he's faced, Tom, in the past 30 days. A 222 ISO and a 379 weighted on base percentage. Walks everybody and can't strike anybody out.
Yeah, he has 9.2 innings on the entire season. He has an 18% walk rate and a 13% strikeout rate. His walk rate is higher than his strikeout rate.
Love to see it. Like now I'm getting that like feeling like, ooh, man, we just want to jump into this game. We want to hammer this game, and maybe we can at this point. But I like that. I think that's going to match up well. Paddock versus Adams, 8.5. And by the way, 9s are on the board at most outlets here. Looks like DraftKings still has an 8.5 at a -122. I would be really surprised, Tom, if we don't get runs in this ball game today. And that's the expectations here. White Sox and the Royals. Martin versus Burgett. By the way, Burgett's been decent here in his early Major League Baseball career, even switching teams. Martin on the side for the Chicago White Sox, a favorite. Overnight time for Kansas City, -165-ish. Now we're seeing it drop a little bit. You get -140s out here, but also -156, depending on where you're shopping at. Make sure you get the best possible pricing you can. A total in this one too, Tom, 10 runs. So it's 9.5, takes 10 to win this one. I do think there's a chance that we can get runs. Why? It's hot as all get out in Kansas City. The bullpen there for Chicago, not great. Burgett can get hit at times. Chicago was dead at the plate, so I think the 8th inning yesterday was played at 2 runs, or maybe the 9th inning they played at the 2 runs that they got. I'm interested to see this play out, but I do think Kansas City hits, and my boy Vinny P's back. He's feeling good. Yes, let's go.
He is, and little spoiler, I may or may not like the White Sox today as a potential plus money play. When we're looking at Burgett, again, this is his first year in the majors. He's got a 2.87 ERA. He's got a 4.6 xFIP. Like, he is overperforming by 2 full earned runs. I will also note, Babbitt, batting average of balls in play for him is at 208 this year, which is unbelievable. If we look at just the entire league, the league average for pitchers, starting, reliever, doesn't matter. The league average for Babbitt this year is 289. he's overperforming the BABIP by almost a full 100 points, and he's overperforming xFIP compared to ERA. So I'm not loving backing Burgett at minus money when it's scorching hot there. And if we're going to get runs, it's going to be higher variance. So I think I want to lean into the White Sox. Also, do you trust the Royals to consistently put up runs even in the best possible circumstance, Donnie, against the White Sox with heat?
I like those lefties here. It's 93 at first pitch and double digits blowing out. That's going to be fun to watch. Lineup came out, by the way, it's pretty good for the Chicago White Sox. Talkman, Sosa, Montgomery, Vargas, Benintendi, Caro, Teal, Mydroth, and also Baldwin. And then the usual suspects, as we like to say, in the lineup today for the Kansas City Royals. Their lineup is out also. Yastrzemski, Witt, Pasquantino, Michael Garcia, Salvador Perez, Adam Frazier, Jonathan India, Rave, and also Maley in the lineup today. So I do expect that we get some runs in this one. It'll be fun to see the way it does turn out because heat and humidity maybe get a little bit squirrely yesterday, like my guy Vinny P did. But I'm excited. You don't expect runs? Are we expecting a high-scoring win that maybe Chicago can punch through 6 to 7 runs?
I think so. That's why I would rather take the plus money. Because when it's all said and done, I don't think Burgett's a good pitcher. So if we're going to be dealing with high variance because of the heat and the temperature, that gives the White Sox equal opportunity. If they put in 5, if they win this game 6-4, would you be shocked? No, they could win this game 6-4. That's when it's all said and done. We get some runs, some cash on props.
No doubt. By the way, yesterday, again, looking for 3 runs there for the Chicago White Sox. For me, they got 2. So you can put on the board, Tommy, as they used to say, they're going to get probably 3 in the first inning, and it's going to drive me up a wall at that point when they do that today. But certainly something to check in on. Do you know we had a lot of runs scored yesterday? That was in St. Louis. Take a look at the game today. Warren's on the mound versus Michaelis, 975, 976, a 215 start between these two. A favorite overnight, around a minus 150 price point for the Yankees. It's actually a little bit higher, Tom. Minus 155s, minus 157s in the marketplace. A total, though, however, opened up at 9.5, has dropped to 9 at most outlets right now. We'll see how that one turns out. But if we look at the weather conditions out in St. Louis, 95 degrees at first pitch, winds 1 or 2 miles per hour, no rain in the forecast. It's hot in the Midwest, just like in Kansas City.
It really is. And while Will Warren is a good pitcher, I don't know if he warrants this type of money line at minus 154. It's fantastic to see a 26.3% strikeout rate from him. The walks continue to be an issue. The Cardinals don't strike out too much, but Donnie, we know this game is literally about one player in this game, and that's the pitcher for the Cardinals, and that's Miles Michaelis, who is absolutely terrible. One of our favorite pitchers to attack because what do we got from him? Doesn't strike anyone out. Yeah, he doesn't walk around, but the hits, the home runs, the BABIP, they're all through the roof, and the Yankees lineup should come through. Am I expecting 7 RBIs out of Ben Rice as we saw last night? No, but everyone top to bottom of the Yankees lineup catches my eye. Maybe not. I know Jazz Chisholm had a homer, but I would rather take even Austin Wells at the bottom of the lineup. Grisham, Judge, Bellinger, Stanton are going to crush Michaelis today.
Yes, I believe that as well. And sometimes we talk about fading the atmosphere of the ballpark. Hey, 62 degrees, wind blowing in. Yeah, it's kind of tough to hit home runs. Boy, when you get some of these guys supercharged with 90, degree temperatures, you saw it yesterday. You theoretically should have had a very good ball game. Ace on the mound versus ace on the mound. Now, granted, Hal Max Fried's been pitching for the Yankees, not so much ace-like, but yesterday he got hammered, then so did Sonny Gray on the opposite side. Sometimes there are ebbs and flows in Major League Baseball. High scoring yesterday. Oh, no, 2-1 game today. It just doesn't play out that way to me because even when you're looking at, Warren on one side, I have Warren as the 16th pitcher on my card, a 4.29 ERA, a 4.36 xFIP number, and then down below him is Miles Michaelis at around a 5.5 ERA and a 4.46 xFIP number. Both of these lineups project pretty well for me, Tom, today in St. Louis. I think there's a really good chance. And again, the 8.5s that are out there at DraftKings, I do think we get 9 runs in this game and a lot of runs. And also, hint, Tom, Giancarlo Stanton, give me a little bit of that torque. You know what I mean? Bang! That's what I'm feeling today. Come on.
He's crushing the ball as of late. I know we're coming up against the break. We have a few more games left, then we'll get into the props to close things out. We actually have a game starting in 20 minutes.
Whoa, those fighting Phils. Boy, they better put up a fight today because I need 6 runs, people. I need 6. Get it.
Can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game. no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
How's the vibes for you, Tom? We feeling good on this Sunday morning? You got some good weather coming up. It's 11:15 Eastern right now. In 20 minutes, we will have a Major League Baseball game on our television, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Washington Nationals, and then all the way into the nightcap, 7 o'clock tonight, which we'll get to that game in just a little bit. Seattle and the New York Mets from Williamsport tonight. A fun game to take a look at. So, vibes high, Tom. Cards halfway down. Feeling good, huh?
Yeah. We got a full day of baseball, like we said. Game starting in 20 minutes. I don't mind the Nerfy in that game. Again, the Sunday Roku games, just if you're into betting trends, that game Sunday morning predominantly falls to the Nerfy first inning, no runs on Sunday morning at 11:30.
Everybody feels crazy at that point. It's too early for a game. Get that energy up in you. Maybe they're watching us right now, Tom. Maybe the Philadelphia Phillies and the Washington Nationals. You know what? Put SportsGrid on my TV right now. I need to watch this breakdown to see if anybody's going to go yard. See?
They're playing some poker, and they got it on in the background, as it is known to happen before.
Exactly. Love to see it. 2:20 start here. We'll get to the next game. That's in Chicago. 9:55, 9:56. Pittsburgh and Chicago. Majinski on the mound, the right-handed pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, going up against Assad for the Chicago Cubs. If you look at the line, it was a heavy favorite overnight already, Tom. -165 price points. They're gone. -185s, -190s at most outlets right now. Here's how you know. An 8.5 overnight on the total. It sits at 7 across the board. It's Assad and it's Majinski. It's not Cy Young versus Max Scherzer in his prime. You know why that number is dropping here, because the wind is blowing in at double digits at Wrigley Field. Not to say they can't score runs at this point, but also Pittsburgh's offense, not great, and Chicago has done the greatest disappearing act on offense I've seen this Major League Baseball season. I don't know where it's been, but the odds makers are telling you, don't expect it to come out and play today either, Tom.
You really can't buy into the Pirates at any point. And again, the weather will impact that game. It's not like this one game, but it's really just been a trend overall for the Pirates. This pitching matchup is extremely difficult to break down, in my opinion, because Javier Assad has been with the Cubs for a couple of years. He's only has one game this season, 4 innings pitched. Dating back to last year, middle-of-the-road pitcher, 3.7 ERA, 4.61 xFIP. He's not a big strikeout pitcher. He's only at 19.4%. Last year, Majinski for the Pirates, he was a starter earlier in the year. They moved him to the bullpen. He's been making a few short appearances here or there. His xFIP is at 3.93, which, Donnie, that's not too bad when it's all said and done. Yeah. The Cubs haven't been hitting on offense. Majinski, I think, is slightly better than people realize. He doesn't give up home runs, so call me crazy, but just give me the under in this game and kind of move on. I think the Cubs win, of course, but I don't like it at -190.
I mean, look at the Cubs lineup here. Let's just go back a month against right-handed pitching, which you're going to get a lot of at-bats. So you have a pretty good track record on if these guys are performing. Michael Busch has a good ISO power number 246, no doubt about it. Low weighted on base percentage, ridiculously high K rate. But then we just get down the order, which we saw in the beginning of the season, Tom. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punch combinations coming out right at you. Kyle Tucker, horrendous versus right-handed pitching over the past month. Seiya Suzuki, horrendous against right-handed pitching over the past month. Pete Crow Armstrong, who's in the MVP race because you thought there was a chance that he might hit 45 bombs this year. Yeah, how about an ISO of 161 over the past 60 at-bats and a 306 weighted on base percentage, and Kang at 27% of the time. Carson Kelly, terrible. Casey, terrible. Nico Horner, terrible. Dansby Swanson, terrible. Matt Scholl looks like the best hitter in the lineup, and he's due to bat 9th today. What happened to that? That roster was like, I got to be in on them every single day in some sort of way. Like, remember, Tom, the HRR market, the hit market, the RBI market? Like, Pete Crow Armstrong carried that for like 45 days.
It really, like, the Cubs were a print factory to start the beginning portion of the season. Like, every day, every other day, you're getting not just a hit or an RBI, you're getting multiple out of multiple players in the lineup, and that all came crashing down. They didn't make any moves at the deadline, really, to bolster things, and I maybe they were overperforming when it's all said and done, but it has gone sour quickly for the Cubs.
And by the way, if you're looking for some excitement for the Pittsburgh Pirates, you're going against Javier Assad. He's not a great pitcher, doesn't have a lot of innings here, obviously, over the past 30 days. But Simon, Horowitz, Gonzalez, Triolo, Henry Davis, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, just horrendous. Like again, we don't have great pitchers on the mound, and you have a 7. Yes, the wind is blowing in at Wrigley. And by the way, it's been a long time since we had the Wrigley wind blowing out. Seems like every game they play there is in, but not a lot of love in that game. There's no doubt about that. Let's get to the next one, which we just talked about, a game that's 7s with 2 average pitchers. Let me bring you this next game because fireworks always happen, and it did last night. The Colorado Rockies turned on that gas for some Coors Magic and ended up getting to double-digit runs in a victory over the Diamondbacks. Today, it's going to be Chris Matt versus Senzatella. 9:57, 9:58 on the rotation, a 3:10 start out in Colorado. 12.5s overnight, Tom, for a total. They're gone. They're 13s. A favorite here for Arizona at around a minus 155 price. And if I'm just doing a quick check here of the weather conditions, 90 degrees and a light wind blowing out to left field. Are we getting fireworks once again in Colorado today, Tom?
I think we should. I am seeing a 12.5 on FanDuel at least right now. 12.5 over minus 122. Dimebacks at minus 146. We know that Senzatella is absolutely terrible. When it comes to Nabil Crismatt, Donnie, I got to be honest. Yeah. I've been writing about baseball since 2017. I have never heard of this guy. Legitimately, until I started, researching today's slate. Looking at what we got from him, he only 7 innings pitched this year. This is his first major league appearance this year. He had 7 innings pitched last year, 13 in 2023. He has yet to pitch at the major league level this year. However, over the course of his career, since he started in 2020, 177 total innings. Donnie, he has a 392 xFIP, which isn't that bad. He comes in with a career strikeout rate, 21%. Not that bad when it's all said and done. So color me crazy, but I like the Diamondbacks on the money line today and the over, which, again, I'm fading the Rockies. Surprise, surprise. But you give me an unknown pitcher who's got some decent underlying metrics, I'll buy into him early.
It's funny, too. It says like how he's acquired as a free agent from Philadelphia in August of 25. And then you go down his list, he's actually, which is pretty wild, he started 20 times in AAA this year. And his ERA is a 3.96, which isn't disastrous, I guess, if you take a look. But if we take a look at some of the, trying to get some advanced statistics on him there. Walk K rate's a little bit high, but it's one of those where it's like, well, you never really know how you're going to wind up once you get to Colorado, and pitchers technically struggle. Like last night, was it Ryan Nelson on the mound? Like he's been blown up every single time he's been in Colorado. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, the guy's going 4, 5, 6 innings and looks really good, but you never know. It just takes one inning in Colorado to absolutely explode, saying, I thought I won that game easy, and I lost by 4 runs. I thought I had the under, and they scored 9 runs late in that game. Colorado, where the magic always happened. Let's head out to Sacramento. More magic at Rockies West out there? Feels like it.
You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Sometimes you look at pitchers and be like, I just can't help it. Like, they're a very good pitcher, but they're playing in an environment like Colorado where there's nothing you can do but just try to eat innings and get crushed on the mound and try to keep your team in it by going, hey, man, that's 6 innings, 5 earned runs here. That was a pretty good start in Colorado. That's a 13 that we just talked about between Krismat and Senzatella. Who knows where the runs are coming from, but apparently 2 touchdowns possibly could be on the board. And we take a look at the Colorado Rockies, that high elevation. We don't necessarily have that in Sacramento, California, but for some reason, we got a ballpark that's usually supercharged on a day-to-day basis. Today, the Angels are going to take on the Athletics in Sacramento, 969, 970 on the rotation, a 405 start. This is a Springs as a lefty going up against Soriano, a righty here. We'll get to their pitching statistics in a moment, but we're looking at roughly a pick-em, Tom, across the board, depending on where you're shopping at. But the thing we always know is it doesn't matter who the pitchers are there. A 10 across the board as a total. That's just what they do in Sacramento.
It really is. I'm only seeing mid-70s-ish when it comes to temperature, so it's not scorching hot there. 9-mile-per-hour wind blowing out, which is certainly nice to see. Springs has put up some solid stuff as of late, especially the last 30 days. Strikeout rate is okay when it's all said and done. Jose Soriano is a far more interesting pitcher to talk about, Donnie. When you look back at his recent game log, no earned runs against the Dodgers. 6 innings, no earned runs, only 2 hits. Credit to him. Before that, 7 hits, 7 earned runs against the Rays. Then we go through the stretch where he's only giving up 1 or 2 earned runs. Why is this? And we've talked about this before. He doesn't strike anyone out at 20.6%, but a 10.4% walk rate, terrible. BABIP over 300. More importantly, the ground ball and fly ball rate are a hilarious combo. 66% ground ball rate and only 16.4% walk rate. So what does that mean? When he gets hit, it's single after single after double after double after single combined with some walks. I like the A's today. I like them to put up some runs. I don't think Soriano's a good pitcher when it's all said and done. He cannot pitch himself out of trouble. Traffic on the base paths is a disaster when it comes to giving up runs, and that's what Soriano's going to give us. Does not say I don't like any Angels hitters, because we'll get to the home run segment, but the A's come away with the win.
Yeah, Soriano's an interesting sort of timepiece to go over. You look at his weighted on base percentage; it's low. ISO is okay, but over the past 30 days, like right-handed batters have really caught up to his seasonal statistics here. He is a ground ball pitcher, which does help him. But you look at that A's lineup just to open it, Tom. Nick Kurtz and Shea Langoliers. Like, Kurtz is 67 at bats he's had, a 518 ISO, a 696 weighted on base percentage, and a walk rate of 15% against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days. Shea Langoliers, 80 at plate appearances, a 453 ISO, and a 527 weighted on base percentage. Like, they got some guys that can detonate right off the bat. When you are betting, Tom, in Sacramento, like, you look at some of the pitchers that, well, they're probably not that bad, but it's just an environment where it doesn't matter sometimes, like, if your pitcher's good or bad. You just get hit.
You really can. And, this always comes down to finding the props and the odds to make it worth it. Because if you were going to bet on Kurtz, and his 2+ total bases was -170, it's like, I don't want that. But if you can find the right combination of his props or whatever hitter you like to get you to good odds, you might as well take that more often than not, just because we know the hitting environment is going to be so strong.
Yeah, so we take a look at like the two places that you love, and of course they're going to be price appropriate. Like, if that game today, we're talking about Krismat pitching on the mound in Colorado, it's not a sense to tell it. It's not a 13. Like, you take it in a normal ballpark, and maybe you get the 9.5s and the 10s, but it's Colorado where stuff goes crazy. The same thing that certainly happens in Sacramento a lot, but two decent looking lineups here. And by the way, looking at that lineup for the Colorado Rockies, just those PSAs, Tom, that we like to give, the lineup looks great today going up against the Diamondbacks. And the Diamondbacks are going to hit as well. Like, if I gave you two choices, right? Said, Tom, you have to pick one of these games. And it's not the same, like 2 10s. Like, you have 13 as a total in Colorado. Does that game go over, or does the game in Sacramento go over at 10? Which one would you take the free bet on at that point?
I think I would have to side with Colorado. Like, it'd be too much to pass up the literal best hitting environment and expecting runs from disastrous bullpens. I would have to take
it. It's 14. But again, we talked about this so many times. Like, hey, man, Friday night, do you want to take a 6.5 -140 team total in Arizona? Oh. Yeah, you should have. You know what I mean? Like, that's like when I got to get 7 at this point. Or let me take an all-team total at 4.5 or 5. I got to get 5 runs on an all-team. Yeah, they'll probably get it by the 3rd or 4th inning. So they are fun environments to bet into. But L.A. taking on the Athletics, they're in Sacramento, followed up there with Arizona and Colorado. Two things that should be fun. And by the way, heavy favorite for Arizona on the road with Krismat, which tells you everything you need to know. But we think what we're getting out of Senzatella today. And then, of course, Soriano in spring. So I do think Soriano is the better pitcher, but he's not used to that environment. He pitches in a great pitcher's ballpark in Anaheim. This is in Anaheim at this point right now. We'll see how it figures out. 3 more games left to handicap on the docket. It's Tampa Bay, San Francisco, San Diego, and the LA Dodgers. Then the nightcap, the Mariners, and the Mets.
You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at, is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
You are looking live at Pro Baseball today on a Sunday morning on the SportsGrid Network. In just 3 minutes' time, you're going to be looking at live Major League Baseball. Now, don't turn us off there. You can put that on in the background. And honestly, it's easier to find us on the television than it is going to be that Philadelphia Phillies game. Trust me on that. So keep the dial right here and don't miss out on the nuggets that we're going to drop over the next half hour on the show. 3 games left to get after. And sometimes, we finish out the string. Major League Baseball teams finish out the string where they're not going to make the playoffs, and it looks like these 2 teams probably not going to make the playoffs this year. The Tampa Bay Rays taking on the San Francisco Giants out in San Francisco today, Tom. 977, 978 on the rotation. A 4:05 start. Vecchio going up against Webb. A favorite overnight. Minus 160s, dropping like a rock. 130s, 135s in the marketplace, even as low as a 126. A total that's listed at 7. Used to always bank on great starts out of Logan Webb. Over the past month and a half, Tom, a lot of questionable starts thrown in there for Logan Webb. Does he have the juice today? Because it looks like bettors are saying he's not worth that price point anymore, and they're buying it down.
Yeah, this is a really tough game because I think on paper we'd all agree that Logan Webb is by far the better pitcher.
Yes.
And on the entire season, a 2.7 xFIP, not a 2.7 ERA, a 2.7 xFIP is unbelievable. Yeah. He's had some, kind of landmine games over the past month and a half. He's had 6, 4 earned runs, whatever it might be. The minus 160-ish turning into minus 130, I think is extremely fair. I do like the Giants. I would prefer to back them in the Giants' first 5 because I think Logan Webb can get it done. But this game comes down to one thing. It's the Giants' offense, which is completely inept at this point. They cannot score. Can they get across a run? Because there's a chance that I lose the first 5, literally 1-0. Like Logan Webb, he bounces back. He's at home. He gets back things under control. He gives up one single run, and the Giants literally cannot score, and they lose the game 2-1 as they did yesterday. So I like the Giants. In theory, I like them in the first 5 specifically. But you tell me Logan Webb with a 2.7 xFIP, strikeout rate at 26.2%. I will take that against Ryan Vecchio, who I have my concerns about and does struggle a little bit with fly balls.
Yeah, he should get through that lineup. He really should. By the way, don't get excited once again. Oh, wait, Tom, this 13-mile-an-hour wind blowing out the dead center field in San Francisco. Have you ever looked at the weather in San Francisco? That's every single day, so not as exciting as it sounds. Devers, Dominic Smith, and Jung-Ho Lee in the middle of that lineup, I do circle for San Francisco. They have to get it done. The one thing we know, Tom, is Vecchio's not a great pitcher. He does struggle with left-handed batters. Those are the lefties in the middle of that lineup with really good numbers over the past month against right-handed pitchers. We'll see how that one does play out today. Let's keep moving down the list, and we'll stay in the state of California and a battle between 2 teams in California, San Diego and Los Angeles. We told you already. Do you know what happened? Yeah. The Dodgers won the first 2 games here, looking for the sweep of the San Diego Padres. Yu Darvish on the mound versus Tyler Glasnow. 959, 960 on the rotation, a 410 start. A favorite here overnight, minus 145, give or take. It's actually a little bit less here at FanDuel, minus 138, but still at 145 at BetMGM. A total that's listed at 8.5 across the board. Glasnow trying to follow up on that appearance that we just saw from Blake Snell. How does it go today? And is this an under? Because I'm kind of interested why this is priced at an 8.5, so 9 takes to beat you there.
I know. The under would be the spot to go. And again, as I said it on Friday on the early line, I said it earlier in the show, just give me the unders in all 3 games, and at least 2 or 3 will come through. You're coming out positive, which we've already seen. And there's no reason for me to not back the under at this spot when Tyler Glasnow, outside of this game versus Cincinnati on July 29th, when he gave up 4 earned runs, he's been super solid since he came back. Only 2 earned runs at most in the other starts. He's piling up the strikeouts. The same thing can be said largely about Yu Darvish since he's come back, especially the last 3 starts. He's been pretty darn good. So why not see another under in this game? Again, a true playoff type environment. I think that the Padres, their bullpen bounces back after a disaster yesterday. Also, the fielding can't be dropping fly balls and whatnot. Under in this game. And, if I had to pick, honestly, I would take the +1 with the Padres at this point. I just don't think they get swept.
Yeah, you look at Tyler Glass now, and again, he's going to be hard to fade, and this is just what you're waiting on. Like Shohei Ohtani continues to stretch out during the summer, turns into a legitimate starting pitcher.
Yeah.
You're getting guys back, Yamamoto, but also more importantly, Tyler Glass now, and then you saw Blake Snell. If they all get in rhythm and they're healthy by playoff time, that's why a lot of people are betting the Dodgers. Not what you see now, it's what you're going to see in the future. But that San Diego lineup does present itself well against right-handed pitching, particularly, Tom, over the past month. Tatis, Arise, Machado, Merrill, Bogarts, along with Laureano and Cronenworth, all have high weighted on base percentages against right-handed pitching. Nice day in LA today, 82-degree temperatures, light wind blowing out the center field between 8 to 10 miles per hour. We'll see if that makes a difference. But looking at that total, sitting at 8.5, it's going to take 9 to beat you in that one, as we do like to say. Final game on the rotation tonight, Tom. And that game is going to be played in Little Leagueville. That's Williamsport, Pennsylvania. It's Seattle and it's New York. It's George Kirby going up against Holmes. 979, 980 on the rotation, a 7 o'clock start. You see the total opened up at 8.5, still sitting at 8.5. A favorite slightly overnight for Seattle, minus 118. Now sits at minus 125. Kirby versus Holmes. Mets won yesterday. Can Seattle return the favorite today?
I do think Seattle bounces back. They are by far the better team when it's all said and done. And again, this is not being played at a MLB ballpark. This is a minor league ballpark, although the dimensions are still the same, 330-ish, 323 down the lines. It's 411 to center field at Bowman Field in Williamsport. Again, just because it has the dimensions of a major league park does not mean that the surroundings and the stands are that of a major league. So things will be impacted. Frankly, I would lean towards the over and the Mariners. And frankly, George Kirby is a significantly better pitcher compared to Clay Holmes, who I think has taken a significant step back. 4.11 xFIP on the season. The strikeouts just simply aren't there for him. And that's how you beat the Mariners. You get them to swing and miss. If you're putting the ball in play and allowing their power to shine, I don't see how George Kirby gives up more than 3 or 4 runs when it's all said and done, because if he's given up 3 or 4, I fully expect the Mariners to bounce back after losing to a rookie pitcher, or not a pitcher making his MLB debut yesterday, and put up 5 or 6 runs of their own.
Yeah, you look at George Kirby, too. Last 45 days, Major League Baseball time, had 7 starts. He's 6-1 over those 7 starts, 42 1/3 innings pitched, a 2.55 ERA, an xFIP number of 2.86. Then we just take a look at his last 121 batters he's faced, Tom, over the past month. It's unbelievable, his numbers. 29% strikeout rate, 6% walk rate. ISO against on those 121 batters, an 0.64. Weighted on base percentage against, a 231. He's also a ground ball pitcher. Now, granted, you do have some really good batters in the lineup for the New York Mets, but if I'm just looking from a pitching perspective, this is the guy that I would want. And you're right about taking a look at Clay Holmes also. Big drop off from what the anticipation was for the expectations for the season once he began pitching, because he's a little bit low. He has, 38 innings over the past 45 days, 5.45 ERA, 4.32 xFIP number. And then you take a look at the statistics themselves. This lineup should be able to hit for the Mariners in this environment, we would think. But also, you know what you like about this too? Whether you think the total is going to be there, usually pitchers are really comfortable when they're at home. You get both of these pitchers, they're not home tonight. And sometimes that leads to a little bit more runs because of the unsure environment. But also understand this too. Yes, it was a travel day for both of these teams. They didn't get to relax for a day before they played. They're right back in it tonight. And maybe that weighs on it as well.
It does, and it's the travel. There's also going to be, like the pomp and circumstance, like the media. It is a spectacle to a degree. So, like you said, they're not in their normal rhythm, because even if obviously it's not a home game for the Mariners, but George Kirby would be asleep at a certain time. He'd be up at a certain time. He would go through his normal routine. Now they have to have this whole it is a spectacle for the Major League Baseball to put on at Williamsport. It's just a different environment. I would bank on runs more often now, like we were talking about during the break. The London series, the Mexico City series, whatever it is, give us runs in these games.
Yeah, you're right about it, because it is an interesting environment. Like sometimes you say, like, hey, the NFL is going to play down in Sao Paulo. Now, granted, it was an ice skating rink last year where the Philadelphia Eagles took on the Green Bay Packers, but the dimensions are always the same. Like, hey, it's 100 yards, and this is what you get out of it, and who knows what the mixed crowd is going to be. You won't have that Major League Baseball crowd tonight, so either side doesn't technically have a home or away designation, but unfamiliar circumstances. And we don't have, crazy nooks and crannies of the ballpark. Oh, Fenway, you got to get used to it. It's just a normal Major League Baseball outfield, roughly the same dimensions, but it still plays differently when you take a look at that eye plane for hitters looking out in center field. You don't have that backdrop here, because I think it's a single A ballpark that they're actually playing in tonight, which in a Major League Baseball stadium, you have it all blacked out. It's nice and easy. You don't have the distractions that you're taking a look at. But we'll find out tonight. Kirby, by far, for me, Tom, is the better pitcher over Holmes. That's a slight favorite here for the Mariners, looking to return that favor that the Mets won yesterday, and we'll see how that plays out. It's time to get to some picks on the card for today, people. Where are we going with the money? Come on back and find out.
You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right back out of here. Time to get after some picks today, Tom. Major League Baseball game going on right now between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Washington Nationals, and a full slate of Major League Baseball games after that, which ends in Williamsport tonight for the Little League Classic. And we just talked about the Seattle Mariners taking on the New York Mets. But now it's time to get after some action today, Tom. And we're going to start with a little sell me something, which means maybe a pitcher, maybe a batter, maybe a team that you should be looking forward to make a little bit more money today in your pocket. Where are you going today, Tom, with this?
So last week, the sell me was going to Jack Ohanowitz for the Angels, to the pitcher, to allow 7+ hits from the Tigers, which came through. Now let's turn to another terrible pitcher. That will be Eric Fedde of the Atlanta Braves. So I'm going to sell you on Eric Fedde for 3+ walks at +155. Going up against the Guardians, as I mentioned, the Guardians are not hitting as of late. So part of me wants to say, like, okay, we're not hitting at the plate. We got to be a little bit more patient. If we can just get on base, we got to start scratching across runs. And that should be happening against Eric Fedde, who comes in on the season with a 10.8% walk rate overall. When we look at his recent few starts, 4.22 walks that he has over his last 3. He's not a good pitcher when it's all said and done. The Guardians also do not strike out, so they are disciplined at the plate, combined with the recent offensive struggles. They got to be extra cautious, not swinging, take that extra pitch. Fedde's terrible. We get some runners on for free with some walks.
Yeah, that's what you want too, right? Because if he's probably going to get chased early in that game, which means he probably gives up hits and walks at the same time. It's like, oh, he get a chance to get his 7th strikeout because everybody was putting the ball in play. Fedde's a great player to fade here. Would you like to see that, Tom, hit by the 2nd inning? Like, guy got knocked out in inning and a third, gave up 4 walks, 4 hits, and away you go in that baseball game. I'm going to take a look at a couple of batters that maybe some people aren't paying attention to, Tom. The Minnesota Twins, not a great baseball team, but they do have a decent lineup on a day-to-day basis. It's really kind of interesting. I'm taking a look at Matt Wallner and also Luke Keyshaw today. The reason being is Larnach's last 54 at-bats, Tom, against right-handed pitching, which Fitzpatrick is today. He says a 200 ISO power number to 318 weighted on base percentage. Anticipation is probably get 5 at-bats today. And then Luke Keyshaw there in the 3-hole, 31 at-bats against right-handed pitching over the past month. How about a 310 ISO and a 504 weighted on base percentage? I'm looking at them each, Tom, just to get a base hit, and that's a plus 120 price. Put that bad boy in a parlay, and away you go.
Gotta love it. I also have a hitter in that game, which we'll get to in the home run segment. We're not going to do that right now, but that's the first. We will be looking there at the next segment.
I like to see it there at this point right now. But I do, look, bad baseball teams can still put together some pretty good streaks here, particularly at the plate, because you're always trying to hit at this point. So pitching props today, Tom. We did pretty well with them last week. Where are we going today on some pitching props?
Yeah, let's turn to Nathan Eovaldi for the Texas Rangers. I think he's a really good pitcher. He really is when it's all said and done, but I got to be going to under 4.5 strikeouts for him. I know he got blown up in his last start versus the Diamondbacks. This really has nothing to do with that, but Eovaldi's strikeout rate is good. It has dipped a little bit. This really has mostly to do with the Blue Jays, who come in this season with a 17.1% strikeout rate versus right-handed pitching, which is the lowest in the majors. They are beyond discipline at the plate, not to mention the fact that even if Eovaldi, this was a turning point for him where he got blown up last game by the Diamondbacks and he does give up another 3 earned runs, he could give up 3 earned runs and get pushed out of the game early because the Blue Jays are on fire right now and they're scoring runs left, right, and center. So Eovaldi's good, but this is a really tough matchup for him to go over 4.5 strikeouts.
There you go. Take a little bit of a fade. Most people are like, Eovaldi, you got to back him in every way, shape, or form that you possibly can. Just the way it is at that point here. I'm going to take a look here at a pitching prop here. I'm going to go an over, not a strikeout prop. That's an over-earned run prop of 2.5. And I'm going to go out to St. Louis today with Miles Michaelis, who's not a great pitcher. 94-degree temperatures in St. Louis. This ball should travel. One thing I don't like today, maybe he comes in for a pinch hit, is Giancarlo Stanton, who I did have on one of my cards, said it hit a home run, not in the starting lineup. It's Christian Rice, Judge, Bellinger, Chisholm, Goldschmidt, Dominguez, McMahon, and Caballero in the lineup today for the Yankees. And it's simple to me. If you look at not being able to strike batters out, not walking a lot of batters, means the ball is going to be in play at 95-degree temperatures. That ball is going to travel. High ISO power numbers against for Michaelis. I'm going over 2.5 earned runs from Miles Michaelis. It is juicy at minus 145. But if he pitches 5 innings, I expect him to give up 3 earned runs today, Tom.
He really should. And, I know you could alt some of these lines, at least on DK. You can look at some of the alt pitcher props. Frankly, I'd be interested in over 2.5. And a part of me wants to be interested in over 3.5, just a little. It would be a plus money at that point, just a little small piece of that as well, because when it rains, it pours for Michaelis, essentially.
Yeah, it does. So there we go. Some pitching props here. A couple, sell me something props that we can look at here, Tom. Why don't we get started too? Because we got some extra time. Tom's Bombs, home run props that you want to get down onto. 3 guys, Tom. Who 3 are leaving the yard today for you?
Well, we got to turn back to Eric Fetty. We have to. So let's go to J-Ram for the Cleveland Guardians. And, sometimes home run props are a play on the matchup. Sometimes home run props are a play on the number. The fact that we're getting J-Ram at plus 400 against Eric Fetty when we know J-Ram's going to be batting from the left side, when everyone's going to be batting from the left side for the Guardians today, we have to be looking at that with a high fly ball rate, J-Ram with great power. And again, it is a play on the number sometimes, not only the matchup. Next up, let's turn to Byron Buxton at plus 340 versus Chris Paddack. We spoke about Chris Paddack. The fly balls are an issue for him. Yes, there's a little bit of wind blowing in at Minnesota today, but Donnie, as you mentioned, the ballpark actually is pretty good when it comes to containing the wind when it's all said and done. Buxton plus 340, certainly like that. And then turning to Zach Neto at plus 320 versus Jeff Springs. While I like Jeff Springs overall, and I did say that I do like the Athletics come away with the win, he does struggle with some ISO power numbers against righties, and Zach Neto kind of matches up well for him. It's 320. It's a little bit of a shorter price than I would like, but we have some wind blowing out. It's in the mid to upper 70s in there. When it's all said and done, we have good numbers and good matchups for all 3 of these hitters.
There you go. Some good price points across the board as well. Now, for me, look, you say, hey, Donnie, we only have like a couple, seconds left in this this segment here for Home Run Derby. But for myself, hitting home runs and Donnie's dingers, I only got 1 guy in the lineup today from what I had this morning. And it's a guy that we probably thought wasn't even going to be in the lineup. I loved Alex Bregman's numbers in a crazy hitting environment today. He's not in the starting lineup today for the Boston Red Sox. Then Giancarlo Stanton in one of the best hitting environments in baseball today. He's not in that starting lineup, which leaves me with Vinny Pasquantino, who's the one guy I didn't think would be in the lineup because of his heat exhaustion yesterday. He's DHing in a great hitting environment. I tried to play it where pitchers I can fade, Tom, in environments that are hot as all get out, and it looks like I only have one of the three, but you know how that works out. That means Vinny Pasquantino is definitely going yard today and is going to bail me out because the other two guys I don't have any chances with. One segment left to go. Big-time dogs on deck. I'm going back to find out who they are on Pro Baseball Today.
You can't get thrown out like that. You just can't.
It's the only thing he's good at is yelling at umpires.
Yeah.
Other than that, he has no feel for the game, no grasp of the game, no idea how to manage a bullpen, no idea how to write up a lineup card. He certainly has no feel for high leverage spots and who to bring in. Devin Williams. There's nothing he does well other than scream and yell at the umpires.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Tigers aren't out of first place. They're still in first place, Tom, by 5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. But you see, like, last 10 games, Detroit Tigers 5-5. Last 10 games, Guardians. Winners of 9 of 11 games, winners of 5 straight games. They're only 5 back now than the Kansas City Royals, sitting at 8.5 back. The Detroit Tigers, so much fun this year, but now facing adversity with a month and a half left in the season.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
He is not Derrick Henry. He is not one of those special backs in that sense. A really good one that's been outstanding in fantasy for quite some time. But you can also hear the buzz recently about it being more of a split backfield. And if that's so, then Aaron Jones' value takes a hit, Jordan Mason's value goes up, and there's an opportunity at some point, if Aaron Jones misses time, where you can see Jordan Mason take that backfield over.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Yankees have an 80.7% chance of still making the playoffs. That just tells you that parity is alive and well in Major League Baseball, where mediocre teams can still make the playoffs, and the Yankees are mediocre but have above mediocre talent. So if they can put it together, you still got an 80% chance of playing postseason baseball.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Pro Baseball Today, which does really mean today, and it means right now, because we have a Major League Baseball game live. Time that started at 11:35 Eastern down in Washington. Just looking at my little score ticker right here. The Philadelphia Phillies, a 1-0 lead, but I do see Washington threatening with a runner on third base and 1 out, and Aaron Nola's return back to Major League Baseball after being on the IL. Alec Boehm also coming back for the Philadelphia Phillies. Now I see an update, 2 outs with a runner on third base, so maybe Nola can stop them there. By the way, the Phillies did score 1 run on an error. But unlike, or should I say, like the Phillies, they couldn't get any more runs when they had runners on first and third with a run in and 1 out. A Castellanos weak line out, and I think Harrison Bader fly out at that point. So 1-0 right now. Action, Tom, in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I spoke about the nerfy trend in these Sunday morning 11:30 Roku games, and the Phillies get a run without actually getting a hit, a 4-pitch walk for Trey Turner to start off the game. So that doesn't come through. The first inning does end, of course, without Nola giving up any runs, but we got some other things to talk about right now.
We do got some other things to talk about, including the big dogs of the week, people. Oh, they're barking, Tom. Where are they barking? Because sometimes you got to take bad baseball teams and you get that nice plus money. Where are you going today?
We're going out to Kansas City, where you said it was super hot, and we're turning to the Chicago White Sox to come away with the win, plus 138. When we're looking at the pitching matchup when it's all said and done, Bergert, is okay. That's really what it comes down to. We're seeing a 4.61 xFIP from him and a 2.87 ERA. He is overperforming by a significant margin, combined with what I said when we broke down this game about his BABIP, which is sub 210 when the league average is up at 289. So he is due for some serious regression. And with the 90 plus degree temperatures that we have, this game really does have a whole lot of variance from a hitting perspective. And frankly, if the White Sox sneak away with the win and they win this game 6-5, 6-4, that shouldn't shock anyone, because the Royals aren't a good pitching staff overall. They're not a great bullpen. And the White Sox can get some runs on the board today, Donnie. I know they didn't for you yesterday, but I think they come away with the win today, plus 138.
Yeah, I think yesterday, Tom, 1 of 7 with runners in scoring position, 8 runners left on base, only scored 2. You convert a couple of those there, you got your 4 to 5 runs that you need to possibly win a Major League Baseball game. My dog of the day, which is no longer a dog right now, we caught some steam in the 10 o'clock hour. It was a slight favorite. It was a slight underdog with Cincinnati at a plus 101 price. We now sit in the marketplace, Tom. FanDuel minus 126, DraftKings minus 125, BetMGM minus 125 as a favorite towards Cincinnati now. Quintana versus Abbott in this environment at 9s as a total. This is a team, the Milwaukee Brewers, that have won 14 straight games with a quality veteran pitcher this year on the mound, and they're now an underdog at this point. I took Cincinnati at that plus 101 price. I'm going to see if that big dog bites for us today. We've been having success on these. Let's see, Tom, if we have more success today and maybe a sweep. So the White Sox, yes, and the Cincinnati Reds are the dogs for us today, Tom. How are we feeling about that today, huh? How are we feeling?
I'm feeling good. I love the hitting environment, and the weather's equal for all pitchers. It's not like the Royals pitcher, just because they're the favorites, don't have to deal with the same 90 degrees and wind that the White Sox do. Sure, you can say that there are historically better hitters on the Royals side of things with a Bobby Witt and a Perez, Vinny P's back in the line. We could say all that's true, but it's not like the Royals are some shutdown pitching staff that we need to be like, oh, the White Sox are getting no runs today.
By the way, I wonder what we see next time we have this powwow on a Sunday morning here. Who's going to be out of first place? Who's going to be in first place? Is Aaron Judge running away with the MVP at this point? Like, what do expectations have for this week? Because as we pointed out, Milwaukee and the Cubs got a 5-game set coming this weekend. Is it panic where, oh no, the Brewers can't get right? Or is it sayonara? It's a wrap on the season for the Cubs.
Here's the question. What do you think the series goes? I think, is it like 3-2 Brewers, 4-1 Brewers? I think the Cubs get 2. They split the doubleheader, and then they'll get 1 later in the series.
It feels about right. I'll tell you, I would love, though, if one team just went 5-0 in this series. If it's the Brewers, just to extend them to like a 20-game, unbelievable streak. Or if it's the Cubs going like, yeah, we were down and out, but we just ate 5 games away directly with our counterpart here to try to close that gap. Because as you take a look and say where they sit in the standings, it's a 9-game lead for the Milwaukee Brewers with a 5-game set. So if they lose that 3-2, they'll take that every way, shape, and form. They don't want to lose games, but come on now. Only giving 1 game back as you head basically into the month of September. That certainly could work out. But everything's out there today, Tom. Home run props are there. Pitching props. Sell me something. Underdog picks. It's how we get down. It's how we spend those 2 hours. And it's been awesome once again today.
It has been. We got some great picks. Love the A's to come away with the win. Love the Diamondbacks to come away with the win. Trust those teams out west to come away with the wins. Despite some subject pitching, I think those teams come away with it today.
It's hammer time, people. Game underway right now, as we said. The next game gets started at 1:35 Eastern. For Tom Vecchio and Donnie Rightside, this is Pro Baseball Today. And our boy Sammy behind the scenes. Thanks for making us look great. See you next week.
My mind, I was able to think and process. And if I let him get back up, he's going to get back up. I was like, let me finish this right now. And I caught him with that left hook, and then I caught him again with that right hook just to make sure the job was done, because I was calculating his hands wasn't touching the ground and his knees weren't touching the ground, but I know he was still going down. To make sure he wasn't getting back up, I had to let those last 2 off, man.
Combat Sports Report. Only on SportsGrid.
He's just only 2,300 points behind. So even if he does win at Memphis, he's still going to be behind Scotty Scheffler in the points by 300. So why? I mean, I want Scotty Scheffler to show up in Memphis, but does he need to? If Rory's not showing up and the third place guy, even if he wins, isn't going to pass him?
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.